time to shift gears. Let's go to Right to Censor. I remember that every time I saw Right to Censor, I'd get angry. So you guys were doing your job because you guys were
Yeah.
supposed to be annoying me. You were supposed to be annoying me, and it was well done. But when it was first presented to you, were you for the gimmick? Did you scratch your head and go, "What is this? You want me to do what?" I mean, what was it like when it was, the idea was given to you? How did you feel about it?
I was all for it. So me and Boss Man had just broken up. Ray had to have some work done on his knee, and they wanted to push me off as a singles. And if you remember, I had a little singles run there. Got a huge win over Jericho on TV. Was doing some good, stole Undertaker's motorcycle. Did all that stuff, and
Yeah,
we were in Albany, New
yeah,
York. And me and Stevie had got to be. I did a shot in ECW in 1995, maybe. Me and a guy named Billy Black went up there. Paul Lee did a tag team, and Cornette used that to pitch for me a job because I'd worked for him in Smoky Mountain. He told me he'd get me a job. So he pitched to Vince, "Hey, that kid I was telling you about, he went over to work for Paul this weekend." I said, "Well, go ahead and sign it." So, but I met Stevie there. And I loved his work in ECW. And at the WrestleMania in 2000, I think we were out in Anaheim. Uh, we all stayed at the same hotel, and somehow or another, we just kind of found each other. And we wound up sharing a meal. We wound up sharing another meal. We wound up going to the gym together. So then, we kind of developed a relationship. And he came up to me and he says, "Hey, have they told you yet?" And I said, "No." I said, "Well, what are we doing?" And he laid it all out to me. And I had seen him come out on TV a couple of times with the outfit, and my first question was, so are we Mormons or, so what are we doing? And, and he said, "Well, kind of." And he laid it all out to me. And I thought about it and I said, "Man, if they give it a chance, that's going to get a ton of heat." And at the time I was already a heel, it's well documented. Godfather didn't like it. I don't know how Val really felt about it, but those guys gave up a good bit. I know Godfather gave up a good bit of merchandise money,
Mhm.
turning heel. I was already a heel. So, for me, it was pretty easy. And, I really enjoyed it.
Now, Bull, was that a big deal back then? Like, if you were a face and they would turn you heel, you didn't want to do it because you're going to lose all merchandise money because no one's buying heel stuff. I mean, back then,
In the
different.
Yeah. I mean,
Godfather's case. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, think about it.
yeah,
Godfather had to be at least in the top five. And you're
I think
talking
so.
about Undertaker, Austin, Rock. He had to be in the top five. And those checks came in quarterly. And all of a sudden, you're the good father. I mean, who's going to buy your shirt then? I mean,
What what hap-
I'm sure he still sold a few, but
what happened to the whole train? This is what's going on here?
you know, that was one of my favorite matches. Me and Godfather had a match, and it was for the girls, and the business wasn't as open back then as it is now. Of course, because the internet was still in its fledgling years. But so the people really didn't know, even the ones that were, smart, they didn't know which way we were going with this. So there was real anticipation in the air as to, are they really going to take the girls away? Because everybody, even the guys loved the boys backstage loved the girls. Everybody did. So the crowd, if you go back and watch that match, the crowd was into it. And, when Stevie hit him with that chair and I hit the leg drop, man, you could just feel the air go out of the place. The only time I felt heat like that it was always with RTC, but the only other time I think it ramped up to that level is when the Dudleys came out that one time with the shirts on. And I always thought, I knew, I knew they didn't want to do it. I mean, I, sat there and talked to them. Of course, they didn't want to do it. But if we could have got them for just a week or worth of TV and made the people think, man, yeah, it was quite a bit of heat. They took the girls away, and we had to go because I mean, we didn't always talk about what we were, I didn't always talk about what I was doing to other people, but we were all in a group together. So, we would all kind of chit chat back and forth. Hey, what have you heard? Hey, what are they doing? Hey, and, the USA was really coming down on us at that point, because you think of the stuff that we got away with for a long time. For several years, we got away with stuff that, we probably got put in jail for now. So
Right.
they had to do something. And and credit to him, Vince McMahon, whether it was his ideal or not, he okayed it. And he let it go through. Everything went through Vince, whether it was his ideal or not. He had yay or nay. And he said yes. And it was a brilliant move, because he got to censor himself and put all the heat on us. And that's what we wanted.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.